Hello, my lovely lackadaisical listeners. Welcome to Brain Fog. Today is another glamorous day for an episode hosted by me, DGB. Last week, we talked about our mind palaces and the tendency to view the unknown as unusual and extravagant wonders, letting our minds run away from us. This week, I want to use that brain power to answer a different question. But first, I'd like to introduce my two co-hosts. Introduce yourselves, co-hosts.
Hello, my name is Rowan.
Hi, I'm Lumi or Lumetric. I figured I'd wait for Rowan to go first, so we didn't do the whole talking over each other thing.
Wow, how professional of the two of you. I'm so proud of you.
We are the most professional podcast.
They're also our losers from last week, just so that you're aware.
Hold on, I'd like to object.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I'd like to object, considering that I was not a player last week. I, in fact, was the host last week.
Where are you sitting right now?
In the contestant chair.
In the loser
Is it a
seat,
loser? Because I
see.
haven't won or lost yet, actually.
You know what? That's fair. That's fair, and I'm sorry. Negative points to Lumi.
We are all winners in the game of life.
No.
Which is false. We're actually all losers in the game of life.
Very opposite of the game of life. That game, fuck that game.
Very hot. Fuck that game. Mattel, I'm coming for you.
The worst board game ever made.
Anyway, Lumi.
Yeah.
What's been going on this week? What's been happening?
Not a lot. It's kind of just been a standard week, streaming, working, the usual sort of stuff. The company, so I have a weird contract, right? I am hired by a company who outsourced me to another company, who outsourced me to a further company, okay? And the middle company are really annoying, right? I don't like them. Every time that I speak to them, I feel like they're just being aggressive towards me. And I'm like, I don't like you. I really, as much as I don't talk to you is good, right? If I don't have to interact with you, it's a good week. But this week I put in like a holiday request. And I was like, right, it's like 9 days away, right? That's fine. That's enough time. 9 days, like the industry standard is a week.
Well, there's where you're wrong.
Well, the industry standard is a week, right? But because they were like, we want like 4 weeks notice. I'm like, well, when I plan a holiday, sure, right? If I'm going to like the US or something, I'll know a month ahead of time. I'm going to tell you.
Right.
But like, if something comes up, like, I've got to take my folks to the airport. I've got a doctor's appointment. I want a day off because of video games coming out. Something stupid and small and really not that big. I'm going to just request it when I can, right? I'm not going to think like a month ahead. Monster Hunter comes out. I'm just going to say, hey, look, next Friday, can I have it off? And I put this request in, and then my boss has been off sick, so he's not really a chance to kind of get back to me. So it sent me this really aggressive email today going, hey, until your boss confirms it, we can't accept it. And, we did say, make it like at least 4 weeks. I'm like,
when?
This was literally today. And I was boiling my rage. I was like, this is like really first world problems, right? This is the working industry in a fucking nutshell. But like, I just wanted to like, I don't know. I just wanted to say, do you have a problem with me? Is there some sort of issue between us that I'm not picking up on? Because y'all really fucking me off.
I want to say 4 weeks notice. That is an aggressive amount of
weeks
notice.
Is so much. Like, there should never be an issue with this.
So many things can happen in 4 weeks. 1 and 2. I don't think I've ever gotten 4 weeks notice from anything for my job, ever. Like, if they need something, they tell me either the day of or at most a week ahead of time. And if that standard holds for them, it's holding for me, babe. Like, if I want a day off, I'm be like, hey, I'm deucing out. And they're like, what? Yeah, I'm deucing out next week. Sorry, I'm not gonna be here on Thursday. Well, why not? And I was like, I don't know. You have to figure it out. I'm not gonna be here. Well, you're scheduled for it. Sorry about you. I just go.
Yeah.
I just be out. Sorry. You gotta figure that out, dude.
Like, it's so backwards. It's like, you're expected to give like 2, 3, multiple weeks of notice if shit comes up for you that is going to interrupt your work life. But your work life doesn't give a shit about your home life.
Well, so I've never had this issue, right? This is the first time I've ever had. So most jobs when you're just a member of staff, right? You're like, right, cool. I'm coming in, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, whatever. I need Friday off. Does that work with it? It's like, do we have enough people in to cover? Right? Yes, cool, awesome, thanks, great. See you next week. This job, because I am very much a contractor, and I've never felt like a contractor until this job. This job like at first it was fine, but like after I started asking for like days off or more stuff, this is when I started to feel like the contractor, because they're like, well, you're not like a real member of staff, so we're gonna like tell you what to do, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, you're an asset. You're not part of our family, our company family. You're actually just a tool that we paid, we hired. I hate that.
You're rented out. You're rented out. Yeah.
Not get me started on company families.
So okay. So here's the deal, and here's what I tell everybody. And I mentioned it earlier. Like if I tell somebody I'm gonna be off next week, and then they start giving me shit about it, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? It'd be a shame if I was sick that Thursday.
Well,
or
see, here's the
whatever
thing,
day it is.
right? Like I get that, and I've had that mental brain key line. Like that thought has occurred to me before, but I'm like, if I ask for a day off and they say no, and then that same day I'm like, oh, I'm sick.
What are they gonna do?
I'm like, they're gonna know that I'm clearly just playing hooky or whatever.
And well,
yeah, you say
you get sick days. You get sick days.
Yeah, I know, but like, still, they're gonna know, right? And I don't know. I've always had this like thing in my brain, like, well, they're gonna know, so they're gonna just like call me out on it, right?
Well, I mean, if they do, you just go, no, I'm sick, and then they go, well, then, what then? Oh, prove it. I don't have to. What do you mean, prove it? Like, I don't
have to prove shit.
What do you? I don't have to. What do you want me to come cough on you? Like, I could do that. Like, what are they gonna? Kids, if you've got sick days and you're supposed to use them before the end of the year, I mean, if you're the kind of person that doesn't get sick, or like, if you've got like enough, like most people get 15 days or something like that, use them. Use
Your sick days.
Use your sick days. Fight the government. Fight the machine. Fight the machine.
I think a lot of people don't realize that your sick days can also be used as mental health days.
Yes, they can.
Ooh,
Your brain gets sick. Your brain needs breaks too.
Mm-hmm.
I should do that. I should. Hi, I need a mental health week.
That's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real ass thing.
Yeah, but I feel like it would be more trouble than it's worth, right? I'm like, oh, I need a mental health week, and then you just go away for a week, and you come back, and you're like, cool, that was great, I feel better. And they're like, are you okay? Do we need you to talk to the shrink now? We need you we need you to explain to us why you needed a mental health
No,
week.
you're not
Is
part
the
of the
stress of your
family.
job? Yeah,
You're not
I know,
part of the
right?
family. They don't care about it that much. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. You're not part of their family. Remember?
No, I don't think they'd care about it for like that reason. I feel like they care about it just to try and like fuck you over.
Like possible, maybe.
I mean, if you're working for a company that's going to do that, the company has so many other underlying issues anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna find a reason. Like it's a find a reason kind of thing, and at that point you're like, heck it.
Well,
like I could literally get contracted to another person.
I very much started looking for a job again the moment this all kicked off, but I feel like I just need to sit down and like masterclass my CV again, because I feel like I've fucked with it far too many times now, and it might not make sense anymore. I don't know.
Professional yapper.
You are so good at yapping.
Big cat on the internet.
Big cat on net. Do yap.
Big cat do yap. Sometimes wears programmer socks. Like that's probably like it's you know what I would hire you. I'd hire you. If somebody mentioned the programmer socks in their CV, I'd be like, oh, you're hired. Like you know what you're talking about. Like immediately.
Yeah. I code in Fi Highs. You're hired.
You're hired. You obviously know what you're on about.
I will say I have unironically put Dungeons and Dragons on my resume before.
Oh yeah.
Because as a long-term DM, it means that I have experience in running team building exercises.
Yeah, it's leadership experience. Technically, it's for leadership experience. Now, does it look good on a resume? I mean,
It does,
That-
depending on what you're applying for.
true.
That moment where you're like, should I put voice actor on my CV because I have actually voice acted for a video game, but then if they ask me about the game, I'm fucked because it's basically a bara furry dating game.
You were on you were on Amorous.
Oh god, no. Oh god, no.
Oh,
Look, listen, right? I have all the achievements on Steam. I would want to fuck the bartender, but that's
Right.
about as far as my amorous goes.
All right, Rowan. How was your week?
oh, my week has been completely and wildly uneventful, honestly. It's been a week. I have spent most of the week working on this big costume project, big fursuit project for a client
Ooh.
that is kicking my entire ass.
Where are you at in the project process of it?
I'm working on the body patterning and the like all of that. Like I'm getting all the pattern and all the shaping sorted out. This is one of those projects though where probably 80% of the work is in that stage. It has ended up being just so much more complicated and difficult than I thought it was going to be at first. And this isn't like it's not like this is my first time doing one of these. I've done these before. So I I went in with a reasonable expectation of what the workload was going to be like.
Mhm.
But this particular one has just been brutal on me.
I feel like people that make fursuits are wizards. Like I mean that in like the most like real
I mean,
way, because like you guys work with physical objects in a 3D space. I make clothes. Like I make clothes. I know how fitting works and how stitching works, all this stuff. Fursuits, you have to take a 2D design, then you got to go, okay, how would this all work in 3D? And then you got to put it all together. Then you got to match it to somebody's like real life actual body. And then you've got to like make all of this the bits match up with different types of fabric. And then you got to make it in a way that can like be taken off and put back on multiple times without falling apart.
yeah, it's a lot of work for sure. And I will point out I am a wizard, although not for
You're
that
like an
entire
actual
reason.
wizard? Like an actual wizard?
We'll come back to that.
Do you see Alakazam?
No, oh gosh, I have way cooler catchphrases than that.
What is one? Can you give us one? Can we hear one?
See, if I say one, I might set something on fire. So
As the host, I'm demanding that you say one.
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to choose. You know, there's just so many, and also my brain is now just deleting all of them from my mind the instant that it's coming up in a conversation. My brain has taken all of them and thrown them out the window.
I feel like Rowan's now stalling and
Yeah.
and didn't actually have magic words in their brain,
Yep,
and
no,
I feel like this is worth
I'm-
negative points.
I'm actually and currently I put the negative decimal on or the negative sign on here already. I'm just deciding how many negatives at this point.
No.
Like yeah, negative this many. No magic words. I don't like your words, Magic Man.
No
no.
magic words, magicless man.
Yeah. All right. Well, so just not non-eventful week. You did fursuit stuff, which is eventful. I feel like that's an eventful week. I feel like
I think
that's
that
eventful.
counts as quite eventful.
Yeah.
I have been, it's been kind of a struggle to wrap my brain around it, even having done this before. This is the character in question is it's one of those characters that has a pretty like low center of mass, which has lended a very
Low
very
center of is that your like
Well,
PC
think about,
way
like-
of saying they got a thick one? They got a
No,
thick
no,
one?
I mean literally. Think about like Dragonite or Goodra, like those types of Pokemon, where
Oh yeah, no, we know what Gudra's all about. Like I
that
got you,
bottom heavy.
big wonk, big
But,
wonk,
like-
big blink.
it's a similar body shape, and that means it's a very low center of mass with a very very complicated shape around a lot of empty space. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really the hard part about this is there's so much empty space to work around. You have to find a way to actually build up that shape. And the method that I have finally settled on trying to use, unironically, is just paper.
Mm-hmm.
You just are taking paper and you're using tape and basically creating a paper mache form out of paper and tape.
So you're going with the mattress seller method of just stuffing it full of newspapers and charging $600, right? Is that where we're at?
I mean, no, I don't know what you're talking about. This is a completely legitimate business venture.
Yeah, yeah,
No, the final version will have real stuffing in it, but I for real, I am using just like toilet paper as stuffing right now because it's a lot like tissue paper. It just wads up really nicely.
Well, it sounds like you had a good week. Well, thank you too for sharing your weeks with me. I have allocated some positive and negative points depending on if I liked your story or not. Will I have liked it? You'll find out later. Anyway, I have a question for the both of you. Out of the both of you, have you had roommates before?
Yes.
I went straight from living with my family to living on my own. The only experience I've had with a roommate was back in my brief time in college.
So you had a college roommate. So you had a roommate at one point. I was gonna say I think as an adult, we've all had roommates, whether they were like full-time capacity or not, at some point, whether they be a college roommate or dorm mate or somebody that you lived with for a long time, best friends. Heck, even if you lived with your parents for a long time, at some point your parents become roommates. Like, let's be
Mm.
real. Like,
Mm.
at some
Mm.
point your parents become your roommates. Um, I want to make a hypothetical situation for the two of you. Lumi and Rowan, you two are now roommates.
Hell yeah!
And say you two are roommates. How do we feel about that? How do we feel about that to start with?
I've already made my feelings on this clear.
Hell
That's quite
yeah.
exciting.
I feel like I'd spend a significant amount of time bullying Rowan by calling them a good girl and petting them on the couch.
It sounds like you two are getting along swimmingly. So that's great. So you guys have been roommates, let's say for like a year or something like that. You've done your couch time, calling each other good things, pat 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 pat, good stuff. You've burned a couple of meals, you've hung out and played games or whatever. It's good. But like you start to get bored. Like you're like, hey, I really wish we had another friend here so we could also bully them. It'd be a lot of fun. Or like, hey, it'd be nice if I had some extra cash in my pocket. Everybody wants extra cash. So like I'd like to split the money, in like
Rent's getting a little high. Time to split it a third way. Yeah.
right. Let's split our rent again and bring in somebody new. Now, Rowan, you mentioned earlier that you were a wizard, right?
This may or may not have come up.
Okay. So, Rowan, you have just admitted to Lumi that you are indeed a wizard. And you can do one trick one time. And you think that it might be useful to your situation. You can bring one person back from the dead to now become your roommate. You can only do it once, and after that, you're stuck with them. Like this person is going to live with you. This person is going to be your best friend. They're going to help pay part of the rent. They're gonna have all of the things from their past. They're gonna remember those. They're gonna have all those same talents, and they're gonna help you out. Right? Right. And the only other trick is that you two don't know anybody other than famous historical figures, wrestlers, presidents, scientists, actors, those types of people. Like you all of that in your brain. So now you two have to
I'm gonna
decide.
set the scene for a second here first, which
Okay.
is like, okay, so we gotta get this all ready, okay? So
Mhm.
like we're gonna be bringing somebody back. This is a very complicated ritual, very very complicated arcane procedure, very precise
Mhm.
implementation of magic. So
Mhm.
we've got to set out the circle, we've got to inscribe the correct runes, and of course there is the incantation
Right.
of Necrom Resurrectus Immortum.
-3 points for interrupting me. Now, anyway, so you two look at each other and you say at the same time who you want to bring back from the dead. You ready? 3, 2,
Wait.
well,
Hold on. You wait. We were doing titles. I thought we were doing titles to entice you with
we
the story.
are. Oh my god.
But
Oh
that's
my
not a person
God.
then.
All right. Editor, remove literally everything I just said. God. Oh my god. I had set all of this up. Lumi.
You said we were doing titles.
We're going to do titles.
Ah!
All right. What was I saying? Fog.
Brain fog.
I don't even know where to restart at. This is just
We blue screened the host.
This
We're
is
doing
literally
fantastic.
derailed. This is literally derailed because you know, somebody wants to do titles. And are you the host? Are you the host?
I asked a question, you answered it, and then you confused me by doing something completely different.
I didn't do something completely different. You didn't let me finish.
You said, did you say the person in free? Are you ready? Are you ready? I was like,
I was about to not let you guys answer. I was literally about to cut you off.
I can't believe I'm the one getting negative points for interrupting.
Oh no, Lumi has received negative points now.
Okay,
don't worry about that.
Excellent, good.
Don't worry about that. Lumi has gotten negative points for this.
And I feel like considering that we have a script and we have a way of doing things, and you've completely thrown that out.
Yeah.
Even if you were gonna change it at the last second.
Yep.
On you.
All right.
You get negative points.
Listen here. I gave myself negative points. It's fine.
Thank you.
I did. I gave myself a negative that many points. Okay. So Rowan can bring people back from the dead. That's all good and dandy. Now, at the same time, you guys decide to blurt out the name. We go, you ready? You ready? You go 1, 2, 3. And then you guys can decide. Like one of you says this, one of you says that, you start arguing. It's a whole mess of a thing. And you guys get so heated about it that you go, we need somebody to help. Well, like if we're gonna bring somebody back, we've got to bring a third party in. It's somebody impartial, somebody that doesn't live with us. So you call me up and you say, hey, DG, dear friend DG, with all of your knowledge and your very smart shark brain, I need you to make a decision for us. We need you to listen to our debates on who would be the best roommate and make a decision for one or the other of us. And I say, okay, we're gonna do this. I want you to duke this out. I want to hear your points. And to decide the first points, I will turn it into a game. And the game is debate. History in the making. So, Lumi, titles.
I'm gonna defer to Rowan for the first title.
No, you can't escape that easily.
I am the host. Title.
He made us dream.
Okay, that's a pretty good title. He made us dream. Rowan, what is your title?
The Pirate Queen.
Okay. So, I like both. The Pirate's Queen is interesting. I think it's very cool. Like a sea level thingy. I think there was a couple of pirate queens technically in history.
There were actually several. Yes.
Hold it for your debate. Wait it for your debate. He made us dream. Lumi, good title. Don't have no clue what that could mean. Like, don't know who that could possibly be. There's no way. And because of that, Rowan, you're getting points for your title, and you get to go first.
Oh, excellent. All right. I did have quite a lot of trouble picking the particular historical figure because, as you said, there are several people who could claim the title of Pirate Queen from history. However, the one that I am particularly thinking about is Anne Bonny, an Irish pirate who had a admittedly very brief history compared to the other contenders on this list, but still has gone down in legend as one of the most infamous pirates of all time. And most likely also a lesbian.
What? Okay. You have my attention.
So Anne Bonny, a little bit of history here, was Irish lass born to an attorney, kind of a stuck-up prick, her father anyway. Like, you need to marry into wealth, and she went and married off to a poor sailor instead. And her father's like, oh, that sucks. I said marry into wealth. This is expressly the opposite of what I said.
Mhm.
Kicks her out, and she says, well, I'll go earn some wealth then. And she goes off to the Bahamas and joins up with the pirate John Rackham, also known as Calico Jack, a very infamous pirate in history. There, he sails for several months, they steal a ship, and they just commit heinous acts of piracies on the high seas, just absolutely ravaging the coasts. And along the way, she befriends and, in theory, dates another female pirate on the crew, Mary Reed. They continue until they are eventually captured, and their fate is actually unknown to this day. Mary Reed is known to have died in prison. Most of the crew was known to have left the mortal coil for their crimes of piracy. However, Anne Bonny herself was never actually committed to that fate. She vanished, and the rumors have abounded. And the one of the most prominent rumors have, as such, is that she was broken out of prison and continued to sail for years after that.
So, why would they be a good roommate?
Now, there's a couple of reasons here. First off, I love a roommate who knows how to have a good time. Pirates objectively knew how to have a good time. They were not beholden to the regular laws of society. They were not beholden to all of the social norms and things that we accept as what is required of us that ultimately end up stifling us. Pirates, party animals. Love to
Right.
see it.
Right. So what
Now,
happens when the cops show up to your house?
at the same time, however, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I'm getting there.
We're getting there. She does not necessarily have to go and become a pirate again. This is a new era. This is the modern day. There are many other things that can be done to break out of societal norms without drawing the attention of the police. And I also, of course, am well aware that the golden age of piracy is long since over. It's a little bit hard to go off and steal a ship and go raid other ships. Significantly more difficult in the modern day and age. So I don't
Okay.
think we actually have to worry too much about having an active pirate in the household. And even if we did, the chances are she would be off elsewhere doing any of this, would be out of our hair, and therefore we are not part of the equation. We have no bearing on her actions.
Right. But like when they're at home with you and they're chilling out, and like I would imagine that a pirate's gonna pirate's gonna pirate. And you've brought them from like what year was this? What year were they alive?
1720 is the year of her disappearance.
Right. So 1720. They now live in the year 2025. What in the world are they going to do in 2025? That like they don't have any knowledge of today's day and age. They're just I would imagine
I
they
mean, you
would
could say
find
the
a
same
boat.
thing of any historical figure. You're
Right. And I'm
resurrecting
going
anyone
to.
from the past. There has to be, I don't think it's fair to include the equation of how will they adapt to the modern age, because that's going to apply to anyone we're bringing back from potentially hundreds of years in the past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. What about money? Like, are they gonna pay rent? Are they good at rent? They good at doing dishes? Like how's home life gonna be? Like, you can't just party all the time.
Little known fact about pirate crews.
Mm-hmm.
Pirate crews actually tended to be very, very socialist in their operation. Everyone on the crew was expected to play a part in the operation of the crew and the maintenance of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, a pirate would be an excellent roommate. They would absolutely maintain responsibility for their end of the chores and maintenance of the apartment.
Okay. Cool. Lumi counter arguments. Like, why wouldn't you want to live with a pirate? Sounds pretty cool.
I mean, well, my first argument, or my first question is, if we're bringing them back to be a roommate, right? And we obviously don't want a pirate in there, which, I mean, you said isn't an issue because pirates don't exist anymore. Tell them that in Somalia.
Yeah, right.
But like, I feel like if a pirate's gonna pirate, they're gonna find a way to pirate, whether that be modern thievery or by getting a ship some way and trying to pirate. Either way, I think they're gonna end up arrested or dead.
You wouldn't download a car, would you?
Right. You wouldn't download a ship, would you? So I feel like when we bring this person back, they're gonna probably be pretty aggressive. I mean, they're a pirate, like they've just been torn out of their mortal coil, wherever that may be, and thrown into the modern age. And if they're coming back the same as they left, they're gonna have a weapon probably. So all in all, I feel like it's just gonna end bloody, or they're gonna leave and go do their own thing, and we're never gonna see them again. So we're never gonna have a roommate because they're just gonna leave and not pay rent.
I have a counter argument.
Yeah. No, you guys can interject each other. Like, this isn't like.
Anne Bonny in particular, among several key historical figures from the golden age of piracy, Anne Bonny became a pirate not because of the piracy itself, but because of the societal pressure on her as a woman to submit to the patriarchy and her desire not to do so. That is as far as our historical accounts can figure, anyway. So, in the modern day and age, I do not think that piracy would be the thing that she turns to. I think she's far more likely to turn to political activism.
Okay. So I guess. Okay. Lumi, anything else? Any other counter arguments against political activism, or like defeat the patriarchy, big women tax?
I mean, my question is twofold, right? One, first of all, is there anything in her past that would insinuate that she would go towards that? Like, was she known for being the outspoken female pirate who wanted nothing but like equal rights for females, or was there something like documented that kind of hints that she would go towards that? And then on the other hand, like, as much as we want to believe that it isn't anymore, do we really believe that the world is fully gone from the, everyone's equal, not like slightly men up kind of mentality that a lot of like the older generation still run by?
I mean, we know the world isn't gone from that, which is exactly why I want a roommate who is very like active in that type of sphere. It's someone who's not going to be a dick. They know what's up. They know, they know that the world is a little bit unfair, and they are not willing to be outspoken about it. And there are, in fact, historical accounts of her being quite outspoken about this. There are accounts of, during raids, she would, taunt the men of the crews because they were supposed to be so much better than her, and yet she was coming out on top.
Like, I feel like her room would be very messy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like her room's gonna be kind of messy, and I still haven't heard a way that she's gonna like actually pay for stuff. Like, activism's great. How does that make money? Like, you guys gotta split this rent 3 ways. Like, you're living. We're assuming rent, like with rent prices today, like it's probably like 2,500 USD, something like that, per month, plus utilities. Yeah, Lumi needs really good internet as well. Like, I don't know how much that costs. Probably like 90 bucks, something like that.
Historian. She lived in an ancient time. She would have all of her memories intact in theory. Why not become a historian?
I feel like you fall then into the big issue that whenever you see these like funny shows like night of the museum, oh, Ben Stiller, he's at it again, what's this, Colonel Sanders is back from the dead, like, oh, but he's actually a wax doll. But like the thing is that if they were actually real, if they were here, if they left the museum and could talk and be real, and they were blood and flesh and bone, they wouldn't get to stay outside. Some government somewhere would come in, the FBI, the Area 51, I don't know, excuse me, you're a 500-year-old pirate, how are you still, why are you, come with us, we're gonna run some tests on you.
Right.
I don't think we'd see them again.
That's a problem with the whole premise here. I think we're going to have to suspend that disbelief a little bit.
No. These are real people. These are actual people. It's not a suspense of disbelief. They have to assimilate into society. They've got to come back in. They've got to figure out how to do this, whether it be going under a different name.
So this is part
or doing...
of the... Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's all part of it. It's all part of it, yeah.
I think there are many, many paths to income from, maybe more dubious natures of income. She was very successful, so I would not necessarily worry about the success, but also far more legitimate means of income that I think are completely acceptable, such as, for example, signing up for counterterrorism. There are many political activist groups that are nonprofits that pay their members.
She's gonna raise cannonballs against the anti-terrorist. She's gonna go fight terrorist pirates like with her galleon. Is that what you mean?
No, so counterterrorism is intelligence. Someone who there are many people who have like, for example, ethical hackers. Ethical hackers
white hats
are often maybe not often, but there are many accounts of people who became ethical hackers after being criminals because they knew how everything worked from the inside.
Gray hats.
And that is a very, very clear path to income that I could see for a former pirate.
Okay. All right. I feel like I've heard points for and against our individual here. Pirate life does sound like the life for me at the moment. I don't have another person in mind. But with that being the case, I'd like to turn to Lumi and say, hey, what do you got? Who do you want to bring into your household? Who is going to be better at doing the dishes, paying the rent, and just being a overall good person in general to hang out with than our pirate friend here? What can they do for us?
So I went a slightly different route with my my thinking, right? So not only do I want a good roommate or someone who can pay the rent, I want someone who's going to change the world. I want to bring someone back who was taken far before their time should have been up. I want to bring someone back who I think in today's day and age could take something that we're all agreeably disappointed in and turn it around, right? They died in 1966, so it's not too long ago that they couldn't, reassemble back into kind of modern society with a little bit of, assistance. It was only 59 years ago. Their tagline was, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Oh.
I would want to bring back Walter Elias Disney.
Really?
Walt Disney. The reason for this, right, is because when I was looking into the potentials, right, I was doing in my research, my investigation, right, so I don't know how much you know about the history of the whole Disney franchise and its parks and everything, but Epcot was never meant to be a park. Epcot was intended to be a city of the future. He wanted to build a city where it had it's very essentially your cyberpunk city. It had a big tower in the middle, which was like the tower, and then you had everything else around it. You had your shops, you had your residential areas, you had a giant monorail that took you like, you know, carbonless travel to those residential areas, so you didn't have the worry of pollution from cars and all that sort of stuff. He had this vision, right? This dream, and he died before he was meant to. He died of an illness, so it wasn't like a natural death. And it's you can't disagree with the fact that he innovated cartoon and cinema and everything that he brought to the world. All of his ideas were gold back in the day. They were stuff that no one had done before. They were new. They were interesting. They changed cinema as it was. And I think that, one, obviously he coming back, he would have a lot of money, so rent wouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
Now,
I
I have one immediate rebuttal for this, which is, so going with the idea that we have to bring someone back who can assimilate into society, you have chosen possibly one of the most famous historical figures of the of recorded history.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's true.
This is not someone who can fly under the radar. This is
Oh, I never intended for that.
Yeah.
You've just not let me finish yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sorry, Rowan. I'm gonna have to give you negative points. We didn't get to the rebuttal portion yet. So once we're at the rebuttal portion, you can interject. But for now, -2. So sorry.
So, you know, we bring him back. He obviously is naturally confused. We kind of lay it out to him, right? Look, we brought you back to life. You died 59 years ago. You died of an illness. Personally, we think that was before your time. We think you had way more to give. This is the current state of Disney. We're sorry. We had no control of that. Your brother did all this. And you know, I feel like he would be shocked, like, especially considering the state of the Marvel universe, the Star Wars, all of that. I feel like he would genuinely, all the live action versions of his movie, I think he would be genuinely shocked. And I think that reintroducing him into the world would then have him go back to Disney, because obviously what else is he going to do? And he would fix the issues. He would bring back the innovation to cartoon and cinema and animation that he brought initially. And I think that would be really good for Disney. I think that would be really good for, one, children, because let's be honest, Disney's kind of gone down the pan. And I think that it would be a really good thing for, like, the world, because as I said, he made us dream. Alternative title was a little bit more magic in the world. So I feel like he would fix a lot of those issues right now. And so to bring up the how would you bring him back, because he's Walt Disney, you used to bring him into the street, people are going to go, that's Walt Disney. How I feel like I just covered that. Epcot was never meant to be a park. It was a city of the future. His whole Tomorrowland, his whole thing was about thinking ahead, thinking to the future. If someone like that was told you're going to die in a year because this illness happened and we don't have a cure for it yet, I feel like he's the sort of person who could very realistically set aside some sort of, like, cryogenic freezing, like, put me in here and wake me up when they fix it kind of thing. And I feel like that would be not the hardest thing to sell. Disney's not dead. Disney has just been in stasis.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, we've been saying that for years. Like, Walt Disney's head is preserved inside of a jar somewhere inside of Epcot, and, like, at some point they're gonna find a way to, like, bring him back. Like, that's been a thing. That's been a thing forever.
Yeah, the Futurama thing. And I feel like you could very easily reintegrate him and go, look, you know, this is the future. I don't think we're far enough ahead of where he was that he would be super shocked by anything. Like, maybe, oh my god, phones with screens, oh. But, like, you know, like you see in, like, all the movies when you see someone from the past come to the future. But I think he would reintegrate really well. I think, obviously, like, business stuff, I don't know business, so I'm sure his business stuff would be messy, but that's here nor there. But I think, again, he would work as a good roommate because he would have the money. He wouldn't do the washing, but he would have someone that you could pay to do the washing, or he would build a robot for it. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I feel like if he was given access to today's tools, he would be able to innovate things a lot more than he could 59 years ago. And small tidbit, small mini lore that I found out. Disney, Magic Kingdom underneath Disney, and I'm not sure if this is true for all the parks, but Magic Kingdom, the entire underground is like security breach in Five Nights at Freddy's. There are tunnels that connect to every single part of the park. you can literally go in one door on one end of the park and show up on the other end of the park through a different door. It is crazy how interconnected every like tunnel is. Like he made it so that like if like a mascot needed to go somewhere else or take their head off or whatever, they could go down there and it would be no issue because no one would see them. And then they could go, right, well, I've got to be over in Epcot or the Tomorrowland or whatever, and they could just go through the tunnels, get to where they need to get to, come back out, and no one would be the wiser. They just went underground. Because there are two parks, essentially. There is the above ground, and then there's the underground, which obviously no one gets. There's actually a tour now that you can go of the underground.
Okay. All right. Those are all good points. I would like to ask you, why do you think Disney would have money? Like, his accounts have long since been passed to someone else, and then the business side of it, there's a board.
Exact question I was going to ask.
So like, where's the money coming from?
So obviously, yeah, you're right. His money had been passed on to his family. But two answers to the question. First of all, if Walt Disney came back, I think that his family would be like, "Holy Walt, yeah, you want money? Here, take money. We've got money." And they would give him money because it's Walt fucking Disney. Alternatively, if they didn't and they were shit about it and like, oh, nah, you're not the real Walt or whatever, I can't count on my entire body the amount of people who would give Walt Disney money. They would be like, look, I'm an investor. Here's 10 million. Go make stuff. Just make sure I get a cut of whatever you make because he's Walt Disney. Like, it prints itself. Money prints itself from that concept.
Okay, that's a good point. It's a good point. Rowan, do you have a counterpoint to that? And I have a follow-up after that.
I think, it's hard to argue with the fact that there probably would be investors if it was actually provably Walt Disney. Who do you think is actually going to believe that it's the real Walt Disney and not just a lookalike? There have been people impersonating famous people for decades. Nobody is ever going to believe that it's the real Walt Disney, and I do not think that money is going to be anywhere near so reliable as you imagine it to be.
My answer to that is, first of all, I feel like they would be able to ask him enough questions to signify that it's Walt Disney. He would be able to answer questions that no one else has been able to answer for years. Alternatively, we're in the age of DNA, right? I feel like somewhere, somehow, in some place in Disney, they have Walt Disney's DNA, and they could very easily match it.
Oh, for sure. For sure they've got something that's got Walt's DNA on it. Something. Hell, they could probably cook something up out of an old panel or something.
They could even probably do it from his actual body. Like, they could dig up his actual body, get like a sample of his bone or whatever, and maybe do it that way. But or maybe just they.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the other part of this. Is like we're talking necromancy at this point, kind of. So like their body is like exhumed. Like there's no body to find. So like once the body's missing, and now Disney's here.
Even then, Walt Disney was cremated.
Really? Well, I mean, where's his ashes?
I don't know where his ashes are.
I would assume they didn't get scattered somewhere. Right? Did you look that up just now, by the way? Did you look that up?
No, I just happened to. I am looking this up now to see
insane.
where his ashes
I was like, hold on, why did somebody have that knowledge? That's a weird thing to know about Walt Disney.
So Walt Disney's ashes are interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park. So they are inside of a mausoleum. They're inside of a mausoleum.
So if we needed to have proof, like, hey, I'm Walt Disney. I was brought back by the Lumetric and Rowan of Rohan. And I am now corporeal again and able to do stuff. And I can prove it because there's no ashes inside of this mausoleum anymore.
Yeah.
We could do that. Okay. All right. So that answers that question. I have another more pressing question.
Okay.
Which is, Walt is your roommate now.
Yep.
Walt is living with you.
Yep.
That's going to be the biggest hassle in the entire world.
If you thought cops showing up at your door was bad, the paparazzi is so much worse.
Right. So my idea is like, You're gonna have people trying to talk to Walt. You're gonna have crazed people trying to break in all the time. You're gonna have and like I don't know where you're living at this point. Like I would assume you'd probably like if this roommate came in, like the roommate is there to live with you wherever you currently at. You're in a nicer apartment, like a gated community, all that good stuff. Like at the end of the day, you're in a public apartment that somebody can like, you know, feasibly lie to the guard, get up to the thing, and like knock on your door. Like imagine being woken up at all hours. Like what? How would you handle that?
Well, this would be a long term gain to short term issue, right? So
Okay.
you've brought Walt Disney back, right? He's got his money one way or another. Don't doesn't matter. He has money from one of the sources as per mentioned. You're not gonna stay in a small apartment. This is Walt Disney. He's gonna want like a bigger house, a mansion, stuff with like drawing rooms, recording room. He's gonna want studios. So because I'd like I'm hoping I'm going based on general good faith of people, right? You brought him back. He's generous. He's happy that he's excited. He's grateful that you've brought him back. He's gonna take you with him. You're gonna maybe quit your jobs. You're gonna maybe work for Disney. I'd be okay with that. I mean, I've got like video technical degree, whatever. So I'm sure I could do something for him. So I would be very happy to turn around and just work for Disney.
Your roommate turns to you and goes, "Hey, do you want to be in our new light or our new animated film? Like you can be Mufasa's great grandchild." And you're
Yeah.
just like, yes, yes, yes.
That's not live action. Let's go.
Now, that's all well and good. I will be honest, the idea of living in a giant mansion is not actually that appealing to me. That
Oh,
is a lot of empty and lonely space.
somebody doesn't know how to live that good life. Like I I mean, at the same time, I do understand. So, like, what would let's we can talk about that part of it as like a hypothetical because we don't even know if that Disney wants to do that. Like, Disney's your roommate. Like, he wants to do the thing. I'm more concerned about like the idea of them being bothersome to your guys' daily lives, and like so your idea for like clothing, so I assume is very similar. It's like you mentioned earlier, they would have like maids or tailormen or whatever to come in and like handle the cleaning and the cooking and the such.
I think as Walt Disney reincorporated himself into the world and ended up with like money and maybe like, well, I don't want to live in a 2-bedroom apartment, but you guys, do you want to come live in this house, mansion, larger house, whatever,
He's
cottage
sleeping
with
on the
me,
couch,
right?
and he's tired
Yeah,
of
right.
sleeping on the
Yeah,
couch.
but he's like, I don't want to sleep on the couch. I'm tired. You guys waking me up playing Xbox. So like he says he wants to buy a place. He's got the money to do it. Like, do you want to come with him? He's grateful that you brought him back to life and that you're giving him the second shot at innovating the world. And so you turn around and you go, yep, you know what? Well, I would love that. And then even if they, like Rowan, want to have this big space, right? You could have a part of this bigger house, right? You could have a couple of rooms or whatever where you're just in the same area. So you could have like your bedroom, Rowan's bedroom, and then like a living space, and that could just be your area. The rest of the house could be for Walt. I mean, he's a big man. He do what he wants, but you guys could just live comfortably. And then if you're working at your job, you go to your job, you come back, no problem. You quit your job, you work for Walt, you do what Walt wants, and you go back and you're just chilling out again. So I feel like you could very easily manage the big space issue.
I'm gonna poke one hole in this argument, which is I feel like that this is stretched beyond being roommates and now into housemates, thus betraying the conditions of the original argument.
No, because he became a roommate, and then he decided that I've got money, I want a better situation. I'll take you with me if you want, because I'm grateful for you for bringing me back.
My point still stands. At that point, we're just living in separate areas of a big house rather than sharing common areas in a roommate situation. Being roommates has the implicit implication that you are sharing the common areas and sharing the rooms of your
Mhm,
living
mhm,
space.
mhm. But that was never, it never said that it had to be the final part.
True.
You start as roommates. That was you were roommates for a period. It was never said that it had to be forever, or that it had to be for 10 years, or whatever. It was just that you were roommates.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna hold on. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna allow it, but Lumi is going to receive a amount of negative points for the extra part of it, but I'm going to allow it, and that part of it's going to receive some sort of positive points as well. So for that, I think this greatly negates itself as like no extra points for the big mansion, though it is good ups for you two. Like if I could live in a mansion, I would. Like that sounds pretty dope. That sounds pretty sick. But I mean
Can't
that's
argue
me.
that the situation would be pretty good, but I also do like my smaller and for lack of a better word, more intimate spaces.
You could alternate it out and say that, Walt asks you and you goes, look, well, we prefer just living in a smaller place. Plus, also, you're gonna have tens of millions of people wanting to talk to you because we've brought you back. So, like, if anything, maybe get us a better place, because this place is now going to be overrun with people trying to find the people who brought Walt Disney back. And then
I
we just
do
move
think
to a
that
slightly
is
better apartment.
the significantly more pressing issue at hand here, which is the paparazzi. I do not want to deal with paparazzi.
Alternative point. Your pirate lady could go out and massacre hundreds of people, and then you're dealing with paparazzi for a whole other issue.
Right. I mean, I can see that. I can see the point. I can see the point from both sides. At that, I feel like that's.
I think if you're bringing back anyone of any historical standing, no matter who they are, even if it was the guy who made McDonald's, you'd still have paparazzi at your door, no matter
like
who it is we bring back.
Is that one of them is a chance and one of them is a guarantee. One of them is a chance your life will be disrupted. The other is a guarantee you're going to have significant disruptions to your life.
Let's simplify it down then. These two people brought someone from the dead back.
I was just about to bring up that point. Now, imagine you two that Walt comes back and everybody knows them. You two are going to be swarming with paparazzi no matter what, because Walt name dropped you. Like, oh, my best friends, Lumetric and Rowan of Rohan. Like, they brought me back from the dead. Yeah, those two over there. You see them? Hi, here's my favorite picture of us all together. And now, yeah, I illustrated them. Look, I drew them in my iconic style, just because I figured it was a nice gift. As artists, we draw our friends. So now you two are going to be bothered by paparazzi no matter what. And I think that Rowan has a point, that it would be more prominent with Disney because of that. So like I'm
Can I counterpoint? Can I counter your point real quick?
You can.
So Rowan's alternative income situation for our pirate lady was giving her a platform by getting her into politics. So they're gonna go, hey, Mrs. Pirate from 500, 600 years ago, how are you here? And they're gonna name drop us too. Yeah, my best friends, my roomies, my boys, my girls, my famelans, these people right here, they brought me back. Love them.
A counter argument. This is someone who lived in an era where photographs did not exist. The only thing we have are historical recreations, and so while there might be some people who would look and go, oddly similar, that is a significantly easier situation to keep under the radar.
I'm gonna have to side with Limmy on this. Because even if it wasn't on like a photo, your names, they can find you. They will find you. Like even if it was via audio, they're gonna know. It's gonna slip at some point. You can't keep this cat under the bag forever. Not if you're having them go into public speaking. This
whole situation also falls apart when you remember that, as established before, I am a wizard and I can probably make this whole situation moot regardless.
-2 for arguing with the host.
By that logic, you could do the same for Disney as a wizard.
Oh, wait. +2 because you're a wizard.
Ah,
Oh.
You are a wizard. There you go. I gave you some. Gave you some. Gave you
we'll
some.
take those.
Yeah. So you're that was a
My-
non-negative gain. So
my
there you
my
go.
my counterpoint for the not it being easier to maintain. If you're bringing her back into society, you're gonna teach her about the current like state of the world, the modern technology. If she's going into public speaking, she's gonna have a phone. That phone's gonna probably be an iPhone because that's just how people seem to work these days. And she's obviously gonna learn how pictures work pretty quickly.
I mean, a cell phone, like, as soon as you explain how to use it, like a toddler can figure out a cell phone. Like,
Yeah.
surely a
But I
pirate
think
queen
also
can figure out
someone
a
with
cell phone.
that type of background would also understand the importance of not uh plastering the faces of her compatriots everywhere.
Oh no, she's grateful to you two, and she's gonna make sure to tell people. Like
Yeah.
she's very great. Like again, Disney also very grateful. Like yeah, these people, these are amazing. Because it's the validity of the argument of why they're still alive. You know. Like,
Yeah, because
they gotta prove
it
it.
helps.
They gotta prove
It helps them prove that they're back because they're back, not because they're just an imposter.
Right. So you're firsthand witnesses. Okay.
Yeah.
I have assigned some negative and positive points for both of you for that argument. Is there anything finalizing for you, Lemmy?
No, I think I've said everything. The only thing I
For and
didn't bring up,
against yours and Rowan's.
the only thing I didn't say is I feel like he would make Disney as a corporation less greedy, less corporal. He would bring it back to just being the fun kind of magic that it started out as being.
I do not necessarily hold optimism that the current corporation owners would be willing to give up their current reigns.
Oh no, I think it'd be a completely large legal battle that would go on for possibly years, but I think he would try. And that's kind of what matters.
Okay. All right, Rowan. Any other pros or cons against and for yours and Lumi's?
I think we've covered most of it. I think my only concern is that Walt Disney might have a few viewpoints that need to be updated as some of his many animations were a little bit insensitive.
Oh, we're going
And
for the counter. Like we're going for the argument of like they weren't self-aware enough. They need to figure out their DEI and all that good stuff.
I think that's a relevant argument for anyone from the past. They've come from a time that's not this time, and things have drastically changed in the social status of the world.
Anything else, Rowan?
I feel like it's a little bit more relevant when you're talking about somebody who is already a prolific and extremely wealthy person versus somebody who actively fought for their rights already.
Okay. All right. I've heard both your points. Give me 1 second because I need to tally all of the positive and negative points that you have received. Editor note, just give me a second. I actually have to calculate numbers. Man, this is hard for Lumi. This is a hard one.
Wow. Editor, and interject the countdown music. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, there's no way.
Did we tie?
Did we actually tie?
There's no way.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
Okay. All right, listen. Okay. I've tabulated the points.
Mm-hmm.
And according to my points, you two have tied with exactly 474 points. There is no way I could make this up. Okay.
Oh, I can't. I really want to see the breakdown of points after this.
So I'm gonna explain the breakdown. Are you ready?
Okay.
For Lumi, you both started with 500 points. Lumi got -2 for questioning the host early on. Lumi got +6 for their sick day discussion. or their vacation discussion. They got -8 for blue screening the host. +5 for Walt Disney because of making cool things for animation. +2 because it would make your guys' situation better. -3 for repeating a point. -4 because paparazzi would be a problem. -5 for no guarantee of money. -7 because at the end of the day, they're not a very good housemate. They're just paying other people to be there to be a good housemate. And then -10 because ultimately there was a lot of points that focused on making the world a better place versus why they would be a good roommate for you specifically. Rowan, you started off with 500 points. You got -4 because you didn't have any magic words. You led me on. You're a magicless magic man. +4 because you're making fursuits. I think that's pretty cool. You got -3 and +3 for an argument that I forget, but I'm sure it was pretty important. -4 because our pirate friend would not be able to party the way that you described because the police would come and take them away. -6 because a pirate is a pirate and you tried everything you could to keep them from being a pirate. -4 because the first thought was that they would just immediately go to activism. -2 because you interrupted Lumi. +2 because you're a wizard. -2 because you interrupted the host. And -10 because again we focused on bettering the world instead of why this person would be a good roommate. And then I finished off the episode with 190 points. I had secret points that I had kept for myself in case you guys had somehow gone so negative that I won. It didn't happen. Unfortunate. So,
that would have been hysterical.
I know. I gave myself 200 points. I lost 10 because Lumi made a good point and I had to give myself a -10. So, here's the deal. Since we can't do it via numbers, I have to decide based off of whatever's in my brain and why. I have to imagine myself now living with those two. Actually, all three of you, unfortunately. Let me see.
Four of us. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just
the four of us, yeah.
The four of us together. Youth, whatever three I end up choosing. So, I think that living with Walt would be a lot of fun. I think I could really connect with them as an animator and as somebody that's a creative. I actually share a quote from them, which is, "I don't make art to make money. I make money so I can make art." And it's something that I've held very dear to myself for a very long time. I've connected with Walt Disney. I know a lot about them. In fact, a lot of the points that were brought up today are points that I would have brought up myself. For Rowan, I love the idea of being a pirate's roommate. It's a lot of fun. We could sing sea shanties. I'm sure they know how to party. I would probably be able to get on a boat, and they'd probably teach me how to do boating things. It'd be kind of cool for them to, tell me more about their activism and like things from that time period, since it was so long ago. And I do believe that they would probably be a very good roommate as far as cleaning and maintenance and making sure they pay for their rent. Because at the end of the day, they're probably paying in gold doubloons or something like that. They probably have a secret treasure hidden somewhere. I'm surprised you didn't bring that up. That was the one thing I thought you would do. Is like,
God,
there's a secret treasure on an island that they could have gotten. But no. So we can't add that to the tabulations. Anyway, with that being said, I like both of these ideas. But with the fact that they are doubloonless, I'm going to have to go with Walt Disney.
Yes!
It's biased.
That's not biased. You had
literally
such
said
low-hanging fruit. You had
You
such
shared a
low-hanging
quote.
fruit and you didn't take it. A pirate is a pirate is a pirate. They have buried treasure somewhere. They're gonna sail the high seas. They're gonna do all of the heck. If they'd have become, could have gone into the Navy and become a general with all their experience. But activism?
I was operating off of the assumption that they were coming back with nothing of their previous life but their memories.
No. Do you think the treasure just disappeared?
You think Treasure's still going to be around after
Could
5
be.
Oh yeah.
years?
Oh, for sure.
could
There's
be.
treasure we haven't found still.
Besides, she was never a captain. She was only a member of another pirate's crew.
No, you know what? I still think there could have been more. But
Did I
I
get
digress.
points for her being a good roommate? I don't remember.
you did. You did get points for them being a good roommate. You did get points for
Okay.
them being a good
I
roommate.
didn't hear it in the breakdown, or maybe I just missed it.
No, that was the +3. That was the +3. I
That was
remember
the
now.
+3.
That was
Okay,
the +3.
excellent.
I didn't write it down. That was the +3 is that they would be a good roommate. So, okay. I think we now know who to resurrect. Rowan, say the incantation.
Necrom resurrectus immortam.
All right, Lumi, you excited? It's happening. It's happening now.
I'm loving it. I love it. I've got all my doodles ready to ask him to make me a character as homage to us bringing him back.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, it looks like there's the ghost of Walt right now. There he goes. Where's the body? Oh no.
Yeah, Rowan, where did you bring back the ghost one? Where was the body?
That's
Rowan?
a great question. It was supposed to be in this arcane circle here. We should
There's a
go take a trip out to, where was it? Glendale, California? We should maybe cut this episode short and take a trip out there.
the mausoleum is airtight. I think they might.
The ghost can fly through it. Actually, no, probably that'd be a bad idea.
But then they become a person inside.
And then they well, we just get a sledgehammer. We can break it open, right?
How fast can we get to? I think they might be deader.
Damn.
Ooh. Anyway, winner speech, Lumi.
I always knew that there was no better winner than I at this juncture. That I had come in here with an airtight idea, a winning argument that was gonna smash Rowan out of the park. I knew. I was aware of this information. I just didn't tell you yet. So thank you. There was no way that I could lose, and I look forward to torturing you both next week.
Super. Rowan, loser speech.
I always knew that there was no better winner than I. Came in here with a winning plan and a winning argument, and I knew that I would smash Lumi out of the park.
You were gonna
Couldn't have
slut
gone
me?
any other way.
What?
Wait a minute, hold on. You slut me? Huh?
I said smash.
No, you said slut
well,
first.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Smash, smash,
Smash.
smash,
Oh, God.
Smash.
smash.
Let me smash. Becky, let me smash.
Excellent. Losers speech. Anyway, this has been Brain Fog. I hope you guys all enjoyed. It was an interesting week. It was an interesting week, and I'm so glad that Walt Disney is totally alive and not in mausoleum right now, suffocating. It's
He's
fine.
fine.
He's fine. He's probably fine. But this has been Lumetric. You can find them at Lumetric. they're on the internet. Go find them on Twitch. And Rowan of Rohan. You can find them also on Twitch and other places. And I've been DGB. I hope this has been an amazing trip for you, and stay foggy, my friends.